What is up, Tress Troop? It is Tress to Impress, and I am Biggity B-A-C-K back with another video. Today's video, as you can already see, is going to be a cooking video, y'all. Y'all can see all of the ingredients and all of the seasonings that I am going to be using tonight. I am making a salmon pastry, some asparagus in a lemon butter garlic sauce, and some potatoes, some nice roasted skillet potatoes. So if you guys are interested in seeing how I put this meal together, then stay tuned. We are about to go ahead and jump right into it. Don't forget to like, comment, and share out this video, y'all. So I'm not just all about the hair, ladies and gentlemen. I get into the kitchen and cook as well. So as you can see, I already added some olive oil and some garlic into the pan, and we got it sizzling, honey. I wish you could smell it. It's smelling good up in this kitchen. Okay, do you hear me? So after adding in some olive oil and some garlic on medium heat, I am adding in some spinach. So right now we are actually cooking the spinach for the spinach dip that's going to go on top of the salmon, but inside of the pastry. Okay, this is something completely different. I have never made this before, so we are going to experiment together, but I can go ahead and let you know now that I know it's going to be bomb. Okay, but I'm going to tell y'all the truth in the end. If it tastes bad, I'm going to let you know it tastes bad. Now, for this step, you could just use the frozen spinach, but I opted to just go ahead and make it fresh since we already had fresh spinach in the kitchen. You can see I'm getting my jam on, getting my groove on, because when I smell food cooking in the kitchen, I just get excited, y'all. So now I'm going to go ahead and take the spinach out of the pan because it's nice and wilted down. If you are going to use the frozen spinach, you want to make sure that you fully defrost it and that you squeeze out all of the excess water before you start mixing your dip, or you're just going to end up with a watery, mushy, tasteless, flavorless mess, okay? So now I am just scooping in some sour cream. And to be honest with y'all, I didn't really follow a particular recipe. I just kind of eyeballed it and tasted it and just got it to the likings of my taste buds. So I strongly suggest that you do the same thing. You know, when you're cooking in the kitchen, it's not always all about a recipe. Sometimes you just have to go with what taste you like, what taste your taste buds like, and the people you are cooking for like. So I also just went ahead and added in some softened cream cheese. Now I'm using this cream cheese out of this little container. I think it was whipped cream cheese, which is why it's already ready to use. But if you are using a cream cheese like that's refrigerated, straight out of the refrigerator, you want to make sure that you give it some time on the counter to soften. And I'm adding in my own seasoning, so I'm using onion powder, garlic powder. You have to add some flavor to this, y'all. We've got dairy products and spinach, no flavor. Okay, so I'm adding in some salt and some pepper. You can kind of play around with the seasonings and just do what you like, but I personally just like to stick with the onion, the garlic, the salt, the pepper for the flavor. And then I'm also adding in some green onions or scallions, whatever you prefer to call them, right here at the end, simply because I thought the flavor would just really make everything pop, and it tastes amazing. But I thought the flavor would be awesome. And we had them already cut up in the fridge and they needed to be used. So bam, there you have it. Now I am prepping my counter space for this pastry. Y'all, I have never done a pastry before. Like, never done a pie from scratch, no dessert, no nothing. Okay, so this was my very first time. So if you know better methods for doing this, then by all means let me know down in the comments, because your girl was struggling. So basically what I did, I didn't have a cutting board that was large enough to like roll out the pastry on. So what I decided to do was just use my countertop. I wanted to really just clean my countertop really well and sanitize it and do it that way, but I didn't want y'all to be on here being skeptical and criticizing my sanitation in my kitchen. So I just went ahead and laid some foil down. You have to flour the surface and then put flour on top of the pastry. Now I use this pre-made package pastry, so all you have to do is let it defrost completely and then you're ready to go, but you do still have to roll it out. So I didn't have a rolling pin so I ended up just using a stemless champagne glass, as you can see, and I actually put a little bit of flour around that as well. This step actually took me a very, very long time, but I cut a lot of it out just to make the video watchable for you guys. So yeah, we just did a little speed over, a little skip over, and you can see that I cut the pastry into 4 strips. I really struggled. I think it would have been nice to have gotten the pastry a little bit thinner, but you know, it is what it is, and it ain't what it ain't, and this is what we're dealing with. So now I have my salmon is all thawed out, and I think this dish would have been better with a fresh salmon, but we had frozen, so that's what I used. You can see that I added some organic lemon pepper seasoning. I added some onion powder, garlic powder, and garlic salt. Yeah, I think that was it. Oh, and I think I put some black pepper. I can't remember if I used black pepper with the lemon pepper or not. Now I have my roasting pan or oven pan, and I'm literally going to assemble everything in the pan. And also for viewing purposes, I didn't show like full time of me preparing every single one. I will say that since you're working with like this cheesy thing, you definitely do want to oil your pan and probably flour it a little bit better than what I did. Also, with your spinach dip, you can definitely add mozzarella cheese. You could add Parmesan cheese. That would just make the dish even better. I opted to not do cheese. I'm not a big dairy person. It just does not digest well with me. Okay, so I am going to have to take extra enzymes as it is just to eat this. So I did not add any extra cheese, but I do think that that will make the flavor pop even more. So if you are a cheese person, go for it. Okay, so basically you lay the strip out, you put your seasoned piece of fish down, then you want to season the unseasoned side of your fish, sis, and then you want to lay your beautiful, luscious, creamy, homemade spinach concoction right there over the top, and then you want to neatly fold your what's remaining of your pastry, you know, in a nice little hot pocket, if you will. So y'all see the madness going down. Even with the fish and the pastry being raw, the smell is amazing. And this dip tastes so good. Like, you really could just make it all the time, you know, if you can do dairy. Super healthy if you can digest dairy. And super tasty and super easy. I didn't even cook it. And you guys know you can also cook spinach dip. All you do is put a layer of cheese like mozzarella and Parmesan over the top, and you pop it into the oven, and it is amazing. I am adding my very last piece of fish into my baking pan and trying to squeeze it in. And then I decided to cut some slits across the top of my pastries just so that the moisture can vent and steam and make sure that my pastry stays nice and crispy and doesn't get too, you know, soggy as it's cooking. And y'all can see I did not do that very neatly. I'm going to drizzle the top with a little bit of olive oil. You could do an egg wash over the top just for the golden brown, pretty glistening color. It's up to you. I was trying to keep it short, simple, and to the point. So we'll see how this comes out. If it tastes great, I will actually try to do it a little bit neater and make the presentation better next time. But I think this looks pretty good, especially saying it is my first time. All right, you guys, I finally got that fish wrapped with the pastry. That is really challenging. So be ready for that if you're going to try out this recipe. If you have kids, I highly suggest that you get the kids into the kitchen and just let them have fun, because mine aren't perfect. I don't feel like the presentation of it has to be perfect in order for it to taste good. So, you know, you could just have fun with putting it together and, you know, wild out, let the kids wild out. I didn't take it too seriously. It was a little bit stressful, but then a little bit stress relieving at the same time. So now that it's all done, I am about to toss it in the oven. So whoop this, whoop that is. My oven just beeped to let me know that it's at 400 degrees. I am going to set a timer for this to cook like for I think 20 or 20. Do I want to do 20 minutes or 25 minutes? What do y'all think? 20 minutes, 25 minutes? I'll set a timer for 25 minutes just because I think it's going to take longer. So I'm going to set a timer for 25 minutes and then check on it. And then if it's not done, then I'll just add more time. I always like to set a timer to remind me to check, just because I get off into other things and I'm not paying attention. Okay. Start. So my timer is set for 25 minutes. And now I'm about to go ahead and put together the potatoes and the asparagus, which are going to be the side dishes. So wish me luck and stay tuned. Now it is time for us to start on this asparagus. So way back when, many days ago, when I used to watch Food Network, like as a kid, I learned this little trick with the asparagus. If you hold each end of the asparagus in your hand and you bend the asparagus as far as you can until it snaps, wherever it naturally snaps is where you want to cut the asparagus. So I know one thing that people are always looking at is, where should I cut the ends off? And supposedly, according to the chefs, you know, it naturally snaps in the perfect spot so that you end up with a nice stalk of tender asparagus without that woody stem. So I never cut my asparagus all at one time. I always do this and just let each individual piece be the perfect length. Now, if you want them to be more uniform, you could always do the snap test on the first one and then just line it up with the others and cut the others the exact same length. I'm already not a huge fan of asparagus, so I definitely like the tender tops only, no extra woody, nasty chewiness. Next, I am cutting up my red skin potatoes. These are very, very small red skin potatoes, very tender. I already washed them down, scrubbed the outsides. I removed the eyes on the ones that needed to be removed. Also, you guys, I got this awesome potato scrubber and eye remover all in one from Grove Collaborative. So I definitely suggest that you guys check them out if you're interested in one. I also included one in my last giveaway, which there was only one entry in that giveaway actually. On my cleaning video, I did a full box of Grove Collaborative products. So shout out to Living Life with Lisa for entering that giveaway and for winning, girl. Thank you so much for supporting my channel forever and always since the beginning. So I definitely consider you a ride or die. If y'all have not checked out Living Life with Lisa's channel, excuse me, then make sure that you check out her channel. All right, girl. Shout out to you. I just plugged you. Anyway, okay, back to the cooking. I'm cutting up all of my red skin potatoes. I always do more than, even though I'm just cooking for me and my husband, I do more than 2 servings of red skin potatoes because I always like these leftovers reheated for breakfast. So there's a cute little tip and trick for those of you who love potatoes and hash browns for breakfast, but you don't necessarily want to get up and do all of that chopping and dropping and cooking and watching and all of that. You can just have your leftovers from dinner. Now, we cannot have plain, bland potatoes, ladies and gentlemen. So I always add veggies to my potatoes. So right now I am cutting up some bell pepper. You can mix in a little spice with a jalapeno pepper maybe if you like. I can't do spice, but I am chopping these up into a nice little dice. Sometimes I just leave them fairly large, but for this, I'm going to do a dice, and then I'm also going to dice up some onion for flavor. And then that way we don't have to rely strictly on the onion powder, garlic powder for our flavor. We can have some of that fresh flavor as well, and it makes the house and the kitchen smell amazing. So if you are doing this for a date night or for your spouse, you know, if they are at the house while you're cooking, they are going to be drooling by the time the food is ready. If you are using fresh onion, garlic, pepper to season everything and not just relying on your dry spices. Yes, honey, that is another tip. So now I have dropped olive oil and my garlic into the pan, and I'm dropping in my roasted my red skin potatoes for roasting, and onions. And then I'm going to also add my bell peppers into the pan, and I'm pretty much just going to let this do what it do, let it cook down. I'm going to add a little bit of butter just to help it to not stick to the pan so much. This is not a skillet that's really made for what I'm using it for. So whenever I use it as a skillet, things tend to stick. It's not really a skillet. It's more for braising or stewing, doing things where you're going to be adding a liquid, broth, or water. So that's why you guys saw me add water to the pan, because I'm just trying to keep the potatoes from sticking to the bottom of the pan. So definitely use a non-stick skillet for this if you have one. So this smells absolutely amazing, and you pretty much just want to cover this and let your potatoes get tender. If you like more of a crispy outside to your potato, then don't cover it. Just make sure that you cut the potatoes up thinly enough so that they can cook thoroughly in the middle and still be crispy on the outside. All right, and then just so that you guys can see the specific seasonings that I used, I had garlic powder. I added some thyme to my potatoes, ground thyme, onion powder, even though we had the fresh onion in there as well, so light on the onion powder, garlic salt. And remember, we had fresh garlic, so light on the garlic salt. Lowry seasoned salt just for flavor, and then to add a little bit of salt. Potatoes generally need quite a decent amount of salt. And then rosemary really, really makes potatoes taste amazing. And then also basil. All right, so that was it for the seasonings on the potatoes, and now it's time to start on this asparagus. So for the asparagus, I'm going to have them in a lemon butter sauce because, once again, I don't really care for asparagus, but my husband loves them. So I have to make some type of sauce for the asparagus, and I have to really season them up and dress them up and make them taste amazing according to my taste buds. So we're starting off with some Carrie's Gold butter, and then I'm adding in some garlic, and then I'm juicing about between 3/4 and half of a lemon straight into the pan. So that's my lemon garlic butter sauce. I'm adding some lemon pepper and some salt. I like to use iodized salt when I'm cooking, y'all. You need iodine for your thyroid gland. So if you don't use iodized salt, you need to make sure that you buy some and at least use it from time to time for the iodine. And then I'm just going to add the asparagus in and let them bathe in that lemon butter garlic sauce, honey, and cover it. I do realize that lid does not fit, but I would have had to dirty another lid to fit the correct lid on the pan. So just ignore that. And then we're going to check on our fish. It's still not ready, so I'm going to add a little bit of thyme on the fish because I really want the pastry to be nice and crispy and golden brown. It's finally time for the moment I have been waiting for, and that is to take this fish out of the oven. It's finally done. It looks amazing. It smells amazing, and I cannot wait to taste it. Let me show you guys a close-up. So everything is done. There's the fish, potatoes, asparagus, and I'm about to plate everything up, and I'll let you guys see the finished product. folks, so there's the finished product. It looks pretty good. So I'm about to do like my first taste, first reaction. Now let's taste the potato. Potato. You guys can get a bite. You see the steam. Potatoes are good. Asparagus. Take you a bite, girl. Look at that glisten. Okay, I see you, chef. I see you, chef. Now this pastry thing. Make sure I get some spinach dip and some fish. I'm nervous about this, y'all. I'm scared to taste it. I really am scared to taste it. This is very different for me, very out of my comfort zone for cooking and eating. It's really good. The only thing that I'm thinking is that I probably have too much like of the stuffing, and that's just because I'm not a big dairy person. Like I don't do a lot of cheese and, you know, cream cheese, sour cream, so it might be too much of that in there for me, but this is really, really good. So you guys have to try this recipe. If you try the recipe, make sure that you let me know and tag me in your video. It came out really good. Your girl is a chef now. Can't tell me nothing. Okay, just call me Chef Tress to impress. Okay. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and share this video. I'll see you in the next one.